Morning, guys. Hi. I am a couple minutes late, but still here. Happy Monday. I have flamingos in the background here. Let's see, there we go. Because we just finished our annual Vacation Stamping School event this past weekend. It's a demonstrator training event. Great perk of my LovenStamps team and our extended family. So excited that many of you guys, demonstrators, were able to attend. And if you're not a demonstrator yet, you should think about signing up. There's a really great special. You can learn more on my website at lovenstamps.com/join-my-team. Or just go to lovenstamps.com and find the tab for information. Anyway, the project that I'm going to show today is something that I saw demonstrated over the weekend. So demonstrators love to share ideas with each other either. And the fabulous Teresa Tucker shared this card. So, and I think she may have seen it from Jennifer Cotton. So, lots of good ideas. But if you've been watching my videos, that I absolutely love when I can use designer series paper as my card base. And so today's card is going to feature the absolutely gorgeous Blackberry Beauty designer series paper that I also used on Friday. You can tell that I'm kind of on a kick with this stuff. Hey Kay, hey Deborah, Gail, Sue, Tanya, Carol, good to see you guys. So here is the paper, and for our card, the one that I'm going to pick out to use is this fabulous paper right here. So with a blackberry, I guess it's actually rich raspberry maybe on the background, and then can you see the gold metallic foil there on the front? Really pretty paper. To get started, you're going to cut your designer series paper to 11.5 inches wide by 5 inches tall, so 11.5 by 5.5 or 5, and then you're going to score it. And the video description has the sizes for scoring. So if you don't write them down fast enough or you want to go back, you can check the video description. But it's at 1 3/4 and 4 3/4 and 7 3/4. So once you got that scored, then I'm going to show you some tips about layering, including a really cool way to add a ribbon, because our card base is going to fold down kind of like this. So if you'd like more DSP card base ideas, I will tag those in the video description also. All right, so let's get you guys flipped down here. I had my studio kind of taken apart for the weekend, so to get everything recombobulated. Is recombobulate the opposite of discombobulate? I'm not sure. All right, so here's our card base. You can kind of see how that V fold or W fold there comes together. And I'm gonna switch you over so I can see comments here. And as we go along, I realized if you haven't liked my LovenStamps Facebook page, you will want to do that so you can be notified of things as they are added here. And if you are watching on YouTube, then you'll want to go ahead and click the subscribe button so that you get notified when I have new things that post. So I post a lot of content and I'm excited to share it with you guys. All right. There we go. Okay, so let's talk about our other pieces here for our card. We are going to mount this on a base, and I'm going to use the rich raspberry color here as my base, okay? So it's going to come on like this, and I think this is really pretty, but you guys know that I kind of love to give a defining layer to the edge of different things. So let's see what happens when we add an early espresso defining layer underneath here and see how this comes together. There you go. Now see how that kind of pops out the designer series paper a little bit more. So I'm really pleased with that. And here I'm going to offer a suggestion. This is a lot of times sort of the standard Stampin' Up design. It's this layer here is 4 1/4 by 5.5, and then the next one is 1/4 inch smaller. But let's see what happens when we narrow this espresso layer and make it just 1/8 of an inch tinier. Okay, so I'm gonna line this up in my trimmer, and I love that with a Stampin' Up trimmer, I can easily trim 1/8 of an inch, which is definitely not true of all trimmers. So, your mileage may vary, I'll say. So I'm gonna trim this to 5 1/8 by 4 1/8. Is that right? 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. So just 1/8 down from the size it was before. And then look at how that changes it. I think it just gets that much more elegant looking, right? Sort of like having just the right amount of edge show on your project. So, all right, now I am going to go ahead and stick down this layer, but I'm not gonna stick down our designer series paper layer yet. And you'll see why when we get there. So we'll get this centered. Okay, so we have our card base and our DSP ready. Now, on the front of this card, I wanna add a panel. My favorite panel scallop dies are Stitch So Sweetly. And so if you've watched my videos at all, you know that I use these regularly. And so I decided to go with the die here that's gonna be, it's a little smaller than the largest, it's the second size, and it's gonna fit on the front about like this. Now to go with this, I really wanted to use my cork paper. So here's the cork, and the good news is that this die cuts very cleanly, no problem at all. And so I have this piece of the die cut cork paper. If you haven't seen this yet, it is a really great texture. It's like actual cork on the front, and it's put on a thin layer of paper on the back. So it cuts really cleanly. But it is also really soft. And so I could stick it on here by itself, but I think that it works better with a layer of cardstock. So I'm gonna echo that early espresso and put this on here also, okay? So you can kind of see how this card is gonna come together. We're gonna have these layers open like this. And so let's go ahead and talk about this front. So when I was trying to decide what stamp set to use, I wanted to use one that is very nature in orientation and so forth. And the one that just keeps jumping out to me is Nature's Harvest. And I showed you guys a notebook with this last week. I think it was last week. Here's the notebook. This was our back to school, you know, getting ready for school design kind of thing. And I love the way it goes with the cork. So this is actually the Nature's Harvest Designer Series paper, and today we're using Blackberry Beauty. But this stamp set is pretty amazing and goes really well with both. So I'm going to pop in here with my stamp, get that little bit of cardstock out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and ink this up and stamp it in early espresso. And since I'm using my espresso, my classic pad to stamp, then I am going to use my Stampin' Blends to color. And whew, sorry if the things are getting a little, well, hopefully you guys are still there. Okay, sorry, my viewing is a little laggy for a second. So then to go with it are all of these fabulous dies, and I'm going to grab this one here that matches that stamped image and go ahead and die cut that. And through the magic of television, there we have it. Don't you wish stamping was like that all the time? Just everything magic of television. So now colors to go with our DSP and so forth. I brought in Blackberry Bliss, which is from the paper, and then Cinnamon Cider, which is also from the paper. Get this die out. Well, we're going to use that die too. And then I needed a little green for the stem, so I brought in Mossy Meadow because it's a really sort of dark regally green. And then we're going to use the color lifter a little today too, so I'll set that here. All right, so let's get coloring. I'm going to start with, I'll do our stems first. So I'm going to start here with our Mossy Meadow, and I'm just going to do a once over. So you've probably heard me talk about Stampin' Blends before, but if you're new to them, I usually color in 3 steps. So first step is to do a light layer with the lighter of the 2 colors. Stampin' Blends are alcohol markers, and they're sold in pairs. And so the first thing I do is color with a light layer first. Have I said first enough? You'll remember that it's first. Just to lay down color in the background. Then, oh, I almost forgot this little bit here. Then I go back with my darker of the 2 Stampin' Blends. I'm going to use the light, or the narrow tip here. And I add some darker lines to sort of, I call them color here lines. So it's places where you want a little shadow. So under the flower, maybe in the background here where the stems overlap. Basically, the artist puts those color here lines so that you know where you're supposed to color. And then I'm gonna go back with my light. So step 3 is to just blur a little bit at that intersection where you go from light to dark so that the transition is a little bit more blended, okay? So got that. And then let's go back with, so that was Mossy Meadow, and now I'm gonna do Blackberry Bliss. And I love the lightest shade of the Blackberry Bliss. It is a really nice soft color. You might think that it was really dark because Blackberry Bliss is a really saturated color when it comes to the ink and the cardstock, but I love that this really is a light Blackberry Bliss. So I'm gonna pop some color on here. Do you guys have colors that you gravitate towards, like a family that you find you really love? Like, I know some people are subtles color people, and some people are regals, and some people are brights. My friend Betsy is definitely a neutrals person. She loves browns and so forth, grays. What do you guys think? Do you have a favorite? I'm gonna pop now the darker color on, and this is gonna go here where we have sort of a shadow where the blossom comes together, and then just a little bit underneath some of these top petals, and then a little down here, okay? There's a little overlap there, a little overlap, and then go back last step and do a teeny bit of blending to kind of add some, a little softer transition there in those colors. Okay, and then lastly, I'm gonna use Cinnamon Cider to color the tops here. And this is gonna be the front of our triple panel card. So now there's enough stamping in there that I don't think I really need to worry too much about going back and adding some extra cider. Okay, so you can see how pretty that is with a perfect die cut border just layered over the top. So I'm gonna come in here with our Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm gonna pop on a handful of them. I think I can get, let's see, I'll do 3 for now. So I've got Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm gonna use them to stick this to our cork layer, and then we're gonna go ahead and pop our cork layer down onto our cardstock that's there to just strengthen that pretty cork paper and make sure that it's not too soft for a card part that moves, right? If you're just layering it down, no big deal, but when it's a part that moves, you need to have a little more oomph to it. Okay, so remember, for this panel, you need to put the Stampin' Dimensionals along the edge. You don't want to seal your card shut unless you're trying to make someone a little crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3, and I'm leaving a space right here, and you'll see why when we get to our ribbon. All right, so now I know this keeps moving. I'm gonna pop this on here, and I've got my dimensionals only along the edge. Okay, so now our card is gonna open like this. So why did I leave that hole in the dimensionals there? Well, I left it there so we could add a ribbon, and the choices for this were my gold ribbon, which is the ribbon that's included in the Blackberry Beauty suite. But then I thought, wow, what about that crocheted trim? It's actually called Diamond Weaved Ribbon. And this is from the Autumn Harvest suite. And here I used it on this notebook to do this little trim section here. And I thought, oh, I think I might want to go with this one. Plus, this one's on back order right now. So you could get it when you purchase things from my online store, they're on back order. The rest of your order ships right away. The back order items just come later. So you wouldn't have to worry about like everything being delayed, but this one is available now. So, all right, so I'm gonna cut a piece here that is, I'm gonna actually just keep my card folded shut, and I'm going to have it meet kind of out here at the edge. So let's see, I'll measure and tell you how long that was if you're a measuring person. Let's see, it is 12 inches plus 6 inches, so 18 inches of ribbon. Okay. So now I am going to feed this underneath here so that it's going underneath that layer and out the back. See how that works? Okay, and I'm gonna actually fold it so that it is pretty well in half because this is gonna be a side tie version of this card. So I want to get that kind of where I want it. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick this down. And I think I'm going to actually just put my adhesive on here. So I've got my strong adhesive. This is my Seal Plus that's like mega strong. And so it's going to hold this with no problem. Now, it's really important to not put the ribbon, you can't adhere the ribbon anywhere except the back. And I'll show you why here in a second. Okay, smush from the back side. All right, because when you open your card, the ribbon is gonna pull a little bit. So 18 inches is a great amount because it lets you not lose the end so that your card will keep having that front there so people could retie it if they want to. If you decide that that's just too much trouble, you can of course tie it on the front and then have it end here. But I kind of like it actually underneath this panel. So I'm gonna feed that back through. Okay. This ribbon is nice and strong, so you can tie it, but it's also strong enough to feed. So, okay, we need a greeting for the front, right? So I do love the greetings in Nature's Harvest, but for this set, or for this card, I wanted to do something a little bit different. And so I actually pulled the greetings from Enjoy the Moment, which I used the other day. What did I use this for? I just had this out. And the one I used, that was the Friendship is Found in Simple Things. Oh, it was the black and white notebook using that Celebration Designer Series paper. I love Celebration, and we're almost halfway through it. So don't forget to take advantage of those free stamps with $50 order. Okay, but I'm gonna use, I think, Enjoy the Moment and a little note for this one. So let's take a little note, and I'm gonna bring back in my Early Espresso ink pad. And let's see, I need some Very Vanilla cardstock again. So I'm just gonna pop this in here and I'm just gonna trim it. Just take some scissors and cut kind of a little bit of a freehand rectangle. So I don't worry too much if the elements aren't exactly square or whatnot. It's just a little note, right? And this is gonna go right here. So I'll pop a Stampin' Dimensional on the back, and that's gonna nestle right in that open spot there. So we're not up too high. All right, and then we need to be doing our layers that are gonna go on the inside, because that is really the beauty of this card. So have more Very Vanilla cardstock, and I'm gonna use the same die from the front and the next smaller die here from the Stitch So Sweetly rectangles. And I'm going to go ahead and use these as our next layer. So one is gonna go here, and then our final one is gonna go here on the inside. And you could do these in whatever layer you want. You could do this one here. I kind of like when this one goes here though, because I like that it overlaps the edge of the card and it kind of leads you on to the next one. And you could use this one twice, but I decided to mix it up. So I'm gonna bring in this little flower here, which is also from, there you guys can see, Nature's Harvest. And this is gonna go down here on the bottom of our element. And then I'm gonna take our Enjoy the Moment stamp and ink that up in Early Espresso, and then go ahead and put this on here. So, all right, so I have to tell you a little bit about the reason for this card. I have a senior in high school, like, oh my goodness, I don't know how time flew to this point. But we did some senior pictures over the weekend with a really fabulous photographer who has a classmate of Abby's, and so they did pictures together and had a great time. And everybody's sad, right, that our kids are at this point, and we're gonna, you know, things are gonna change and they'll fly away and stuff. But you know what, honestly, it's a reminder to myself to enjoy the moment. Where we're at and the stuff that we're involved in right now, those are things worth enjoying and worth spending time on. So you can focus ahead, but also not be so concerned, you know, don't forget to enjoy the now. All right, so that's my little service message. All right, and then also in here is this fun little stamp, this sort of smudgy stamp. And I was gonna put this here on the corner, but you know what? I think I might, maybe I'll repeat this one down here. I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna repeat this. Now I know this stamp is giant and this area is small, but not a big deal, right? Because you don't have to use the whole you don't have to use the whole stamp to have it be just a cool element in your card. So I'm gonna go ahead and use it just like that. And we will pop this on here. If you guys have any tips for surviving senior year or loving senior year, I'm always up for wise parent tips, so you can leave those for me. Oh, bling. Sue says we must add bling. Okay, you know what, Sue? I'm glad you said that, because as I was working on this, I was thinking, oh, I could add some bling or I might not. So Sue says we need bling, so therefore we do. So I'm gonna bring in my trusty handy brushed metallic adhesive back dots, which are the super fabulous go-to for these kinds of nature-y elements, I think. And so I'm gonna bring, you know what, I think I might use these bronze ones. The gold ones would work, right? Because the gold matches the gold foil in our background. But I think I'm gonna stick with the bronze. So let's see, we'll pop some of these on here. Now when I'm trying to decide where to put the bling, usually what I try to do is kind of focus on our focal point, which makes sense, right? So our focal point is our greeting and this place where the ribbon comes across and so forth. So I'm gonna do maybe a couple out here. And then I like things in groups of 3, so maybe I'll do one more. I could do it down here or up here, maybe in here. I'll stick it down a little and see if I like it. Let's see, out here. No, I am gonna put it there. Okay, first impression, right? Okay, so now we have a little bling there for the front of our card that really helps to focus attention there on our focal point. Now, if you've been wondering about this ribbon, you're like, Meg, that looks pretty small to tie a bow. I'll show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a half bow. And I really like to do these because they're just a little bit less like, woohoo, look at me, I'm a bow. I know that's what your ribbon says to you all the time too. But so what I'm gonna do is just do that first crossover like it's a bow, and then I'm gonna make my loop and I'm gonna wrap the other one around, but instead of putting like a loop through, I'm gonna actually pull that end through. So I end up with a single looped bow. I don't know if there's a name for that. A single looped bow probably is not the technical name. But then we have this sort of loop here that's just a little bit more casual and a little bit more organic maybe than like the, you know, whole pretty bow kind of thing. So I am a big fan of using that when I want something to just be a little bit more casual, a little bit more organic. So, all right, you can put it like that. You can turn it this way, however you like it. But there is our triple fold card and opens like this. With our layers inside, and then to close it all up again, you can just fold it over and pull that ribbon back through there. So, all right, what do you guys think? DSP card base for the win? I'm definitely a fan. So a great way to search for more DSP card bases is to go to my blog at LovenStamps later today and click the hashtag for DSP card bases, or you could even do it within Facebook or YouTube. There's a hashtag for DSP card base in the video description, and you can use that to find more ideas that really make the most of your DSP, right? When there's two beautiful sides, who wants to cover one up and lose it? You just want both of them to continue to be available. So, and with Blackberry Beauty, both sides are beautiful. So, all right, guys, happy Monday. Have a fabulous day. Let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday. And of course, as always, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and like the page on Facebook for notifications about future videos. So happy stamping, guys. Have a great day.